The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
AFC Bournemouth for the Champions League. Never, all those years ago, minus 17, did we ever expect or think that that might be possible. But hold on, it's realistic this time round, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I think AFC Bournemouth are going to Europe and maybe, just maybe, Europe's premier competition. Now, do hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button below to be alerted to any new videos we do here on Up the Cherries in all departments. My name is Craig. I am the host of Up the Cherries in all departments. I'm going to give you the honest truth of why I think that our small little football club playing at Dean Court in front of 11,000 fans each week is potentially going to shock and send waves across Europe. Let's see what I did there. It's quite good, wasn't it? Waves. See? Yeah. Well, let's start off firstly, not with the manager, Andoni Iraola, not with the team, but let's talk about the recruitment and our journey from that season in minus 17 when we defied the odds. It's fair to say that that year was looking pretty bleak, to be fair. Starting the season under Kevin Bond, Kevin was removed and replaced by a man called Jimmy Quinn. Jimmy didn't really know what he was doing, to be honest, as a manager. And following a defeat by Blythe Spartans in the FA Cup, he was replaced. And he was replaced by a hero, a defender who'd spent lots of time at AFC Bournemouth previously. A man going by the name of Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe, he invigorated the side. He got the side playing. He got everybody united. To be honest, we weren't the worst side out there. We was probably badly managed by Jimmy Quinn. But we was in such a bad position and we was on a critical list that, relegation was a possibility from the Football League. But Eddie kept us up with a game to spare. Of course, Fletch with that stunning goal against Grimsby, keeping us up. The following season, we got promoted. Eddie went to Burnley, come back. We had a decent spell under Lee Bradbury, managed to get into the playoffs before being beaten by Huddersfield Town in the semi-finals until Paul Groves took over and it all kind of went wrong. We was in the relegation zone again, and Eddie had come back from Burnley. Of course, Burnley, a division above us at this time, nobody really understood why. But Eddie then showed exactly what he was all about, taking a club from the relegation zone all the way into the Championship for only the second time in our history. Of course, Harry Redknapp did it first time around some years beforehand, some 25 years beforehand, when, we spent a couple of years at the second tier. And then Eddie made moves to get us into the top flight, which he did. Got us there, kept us there for 5 years. Yeah, we got relegated after COVID. A few managers later, of course, nobody needs to tell you, Jason Tindall, then followed by Jonathan Woodgate, a short spell. Of course, Scott Parker getting us back to the Premier League before Gary O'Neill took over, and then Andoni Iraola come on board. Now, one thing has been quite constant throughout AFC Bournemouth's history since then, and that is recruitment. Recruitment of not just good players, but players that over exceed the value that we paid for them. And it's only getting better and better. Of course, Richard Hughes was the man who was making a lot of the decisions initially. But then Simon Francis, when Richard went off to Liverpool, got the role along with Tiago Pinto. Now, these two have effectively, found some of the biggest gems in world football. Dean Howson, Ilya Zabanier, even players that are already still here. Justin Kluivert, you know, let's just remind you that Patrick never scored a hat trick at Newcastle when he was playing for Newcastle. Justin did, and he wasn't playing for Newcastle, he was playing for us. Pretty decent recruitment there. The recruitment, though, isn't just in the players that we're bringing in. It's the staff around them. It's the people that make this club what it is. We're not walking away from our history. And what I mean by not walking away from our history is we're not turning around and getting rid of the likes of Tommy Elphick and Sean Cooper, who are the livelihood and the blood of this football club. And of course, I tell you what, there'd probably be a riot if they ever got rid of Steve Super Fletch. There is no doubt that what has actually happened is we've kept hold of our roots, but we've also implemented these new ideas, these new schemes. Now, don't get me wrong, they've been learning from some of the best people in the business, the best people out there. And we've seen it again this summer. Adrian Treffer. Now, did any AFC Bournemouth fan really know of Adrian Treffer before he turned up on the South Coast? Probably not. Amin Hadley. Had anybody heard of him? Probably not, unless you do take an interest in the French leagues. You look at the recruitment, and it's absolutely outstanding. But it's also the coaching element as well. The coaches have got the very best out of players. Dare I even say, Antoine Semenyo, when he was at Bristol City, he blew hot and cold as a player. When he's come to AFC Bournemouth, he's been hot every single bloody week he plays for us. He has become a talent that everybody wants. Everybody wants a bit of Antoine. And the man is showing why he could be the next £75 million player. You said that to any Bristol City fans back along, they probably would have laughed at you. But this shows the coaching and the expertise that is also brought into this football club from around. It's not just the players, it's the whole atmosphere of this club. The whole recruitment is top class. And it goes down to the women's team as well. We've seen as well how the women's team have evolved. The players that have come in from other clubs in the women's game and are only making this club better. Bill Foley has got a philosophy here which is absolutely unbelievable. And, he's taken it on from already a good place. When Eddie was picking out players and when Richard Hughes was picking out players, all those years, we took it as a given. But our recruitment has been first class since day one. And Frano and Tiago only deserve maximum credit for that. But of course, one of their biggest, if not the biggest signing has to be our manager, Andoni Iraola. How wrong was I when I turned around and said I didn't think that the players could implement the Andoni's philosophy? Bill stuck with him, and we are now reaping the rewards. Andoni has turned us into a side which are full of energy, full of high presses, full of challenging moves. We're adaptable. We dictate the style of play. Whereas under Eddie's regime, of course, the first time we were in the Premier League for all of those 5 years, if we was coming up against a club like Manchester City or Arsenal or Liverpool, or Spurs or whoever, we had to adapt sometimes to the style of play that they were adopting. Hey, you know, Everton turns up, we might have to, actually adapt ourselves based on the other side. Now we dictate how a game is played because of the high pressing, the high intensity, the drive. It's everything that you see from other Basque managers like Unai Emery, Xabi Alonso, and such like. Like when I spoke to Mikel Ixtari some time ago, Andoni Iraola is a master of his trade. And in fact, there's one Basque manager that I didn't mention there, and that's Mikel Arteta. I personally think that Andoni, with what he's done at AFC Bournemouth, with the resources, we've got to keep in mind Arsenal are a huge club, with the resources, has honestly done a bit better than Mikel has. Yeah, we might not have been in the Champions League before, but again, we are a lot smaller. We have got a lot less pressure on us to do just that. But the pressure is rising. And with every result and every game, and consider so far this season, with 5 games in, we've won 3 of them. We beat Wolves. We beat Brighton and Hove Albion 2-1, a side which is one of our Achilles' heel at home. We've gone to Spurs, a Spurs that were on fire, a Spurs that should have beaten PSG, a Spurs that won the Europa League last year, a Spurs that are looking better and better and better and better and better and better and better under Thomas Frank. We went there and 1-0 flattered Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, we got beat by Liverpool. We did draw against Newcastle, but 10 points from 5 games and in 4th place. Are AFC Bournemouth headed for the Champions League? Well, I honestly do think that we might be. But I tell you what, quickly, do check out our 2 sponsors as well. Firstly, Touchpoint Telecoms at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk and also Dental on the Banks at dentalonthebanks.co.uk. And thank you to them for continuing to sponsor us. Here's a little video about what they do now.
I should be like you, Mel.
As I was saying before, AFC Bournemouth are, in my honest opinion, headed for Europe. Is it the Champions League? I don't really care, to be honest. I would like a European dream. Hey, I would quite like a trip to Sheriff Tiraspol, Transnistria. I've never heard of it. Maybe Johnny has. No, Johnny does know of Transnistria. But, you know, I've never been there. Hey, might be going there next season. You never know. But we might also end up going to somewhere like Barcelona or Real Madrid, because if we continue this trajectory, and considering our next 4 games are all very much winnable, we could be on 22 points after 9 games. Whoa, hold on a minute. AFC Bournemouth are headed for the Champions League. If that happens, I would be very, very surprised if we weren't in second place and really sniffing down the necks of Liverpool. My God, no, scrap that. We're top of the league. We probably are having a laugh there, but Hey, football's all about dreams. And dare I even remind you, Leicester City, Leicester City back in 2015, 2016, won the Premier League title. These fairy tales do happen, guys. And this fairy tale might well happen. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to win the league. I'm not saying that, we're going to get Champions League. But if we don't aim for the goal, how do we know that we won't? I think it's, again, a very, very, very tough division this season. You're seeing Manchester City, which, to be honest, I don't think they're particularly good. You're seeing Arsenal, who are looking a little bit rocky. Spurs look very good. Liverpool look excellent. Manchester United nowhere to be seen, as per normal. I don't know if no, Andoni is not going there. We have told you, Matt has told you, Andoni Iraola is not going to Manchester United. But our AFC Bournemouth going into Europe, to be honest, keep playing the way we are, keep playing the style we are, keep playing with the intensity we are, keep playing with the vigor, the heart, the determination. Yes, we are going into Europe next season. And I'd put money on it. We are going into Europe. Will we beat Leeds? Of course. I think we will do. Will we beat Fulham? We look a lot better than Fulham. As said before, a lot of Liverpool fans have said since that match, we gave them their toughest challenge yet. We gave them their toughest challenge when they were on song. It wasn't a case that, Bournemouth were poor. Liverpool were just excellent that night. And we gave them a battle. Yes, we did lose the game. However, how many teams have lost their first game and then gone on to great things? There's Alan Hansen quote somewhere where he says, "You won't win anything with kids." Could we win something with this group of players? Now we're out the Carabao Cup, thanks Brentford, but could we go after the FA Cup? What could we do this season? There's loads of excitement. There's loads of it. And this team put together by Simon Francis, Tiago Pinto, Andoni Iraola, Tommy Elphick, Sean Cooper, is an excellent group of players. Uber professionals, if you like. Players that will focus on the job in hand. Yeah, they're probably not like me going, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other. But if they were, who would put it past them? They're a great group of players. They all understand each other. They're all focused on achieving what only we could have ever dreamed about all those years ago. You look at the team, Jordi Petrovic, fantastic goalkeeper. He's definitely a step up on Kepa, and look at what Kepa's done in his career. Adrian Treffer, Milos who? Milos Kerkez? Well, I think, it kind of shows to walk into those boots and actually, seemingly improve them is something. You've got Marcos Senesi. He's back to his best. He's an exciting player. Once again, I was a little bit concerned during the summer series, but he's back to his best. You've got Diakite. Diakite looks an excellent player. He might be smaller than most central defenders, but he reads the game so well. He backs off, he moves forwards. Against a huge Newcastle attacker, he managed to keep control of it and get that ball out. Jimenez is looking a very, very good player, very big talent as well. And of course, Smithy, is the one that everybody looks to as that sensible head. Lewis Cook can play there as well. The adaptable player that can play in midfield. He can play pretty much everywhere, to be perfectly honest. I think he'd be absolutely excellent anywhere. But, even with all his injuries through the years, He's shone and shone and shone, and really is showing why, to be honest, Thomas Tuchel should take a bit of an interest, as he should do in Alex Scott as well. Scott is scored a fantastic goal against Brighton and continues to be that heartbeat. Tyler Adams, the player that was always injured at Leeds, always injured during his early spell here, shows why we've persisted with him. Justin Kluivert needs no explanation. To be perfectly honest, he's done what his dad never did. Antoine Semenyo, I love the man, absolutely love the man. David Brooks has shown that he's beaten the odds health-wise to come back even better than he was in the first place. Marcus Tavernier, is showing and getting better day by day. And Evan Nielsen is a pain in the arse up front for other teams, but exciting to watch for us. He might not be the prolific striker, but he builds so much more. He's a bit like Solanke in that way, but arguably a little bit better. We have got a team full of players on the bench. Gannon Doak, Adley himself. You look at the amount of quality that we have. It is unbelievable. Ryan Christie can't normally get back in the side. He's not a sure 100% starter as he would always have been because of the quality elsewhere. And then you look at the other player that we bought, Milosakovic. We said about Milos, but Milosakovic looks like he could be the next Dean Howson, the next player who you could say is going to go on to bigger and better things. Hopefully with AFC Bournemouth. Hopefully we'll get into Europe. Hopefully we will defy the odds. I think we are destined for Europe this time round. I want to know what you think. But can we finish fourth? Are AFC Bournemouth headed for the Champions League? Of course we bloody are. Come on, let's do it. Up the cherries. And I'll see you in Milan, Turin, Roma. We don't need to go to Transnistria. I've never heard of it anyway. Don't know where it is.
The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.